Hi guys, Blacksmith here. I'm going to talk to you today about the easiest way to make money sports betting. This technique is something that I've been talking about in my free group for ages. It's something we use all the time. In fact, today, right before I recorded this video, we had a bet on a heavy favourite and we used them to boost the odds of another bet. They went behind and I recommended everyone take them when they went down 1-0 as a single, for the reason that I'm going to talk about today. What I'm going to talk about is backing elite teams, so the best teams in the division, top teams in the world. Doesn't matter on the sport, but football in particular is what I'm talking about today. When they go behind, you can do this in MMA as well. If a fighter has a bad first round, it works for everything. A lot of people won't do this because of psychology, and this psychology is very interesting because the bookies use it to make us bet on bad value. Most people will take the big favourite, the easiest options, because we as human beings are risk averse. In fact, I was just reading a book that talks about how in NFL, many coaches will not go for the fourth down. They'll kick the ball or punt the ball because they're risk averse. It's a high risk, high reward scenario. The book actually argues with data that it conclusively is always best to go for it. And there was a famous coach, Belichick for the Patriots, who used to do this. And the reason why most coaches wouldn't do it is because they're scared of the loss and they're scared of looking bad as well. But what he correctly concluded was, when you are at the fourth down and your players have to perform, that's when they will play their best. There's a principle actually in the military that uses this. I cannot remember the name of it, but Sun Tzu, who wrote The Art of War, discussed this, and they actually implemented it on D-Day. And the theory was, if you back a soldier into a corner where they have to fight, they will become extremely ferocious and they will fight as hard as they ever can. And it's a similar principle, obviously very different. But what we're talking about is when you are getting an opportunity to back an elite team when their back's up against the wall, this is when they will rise to the occasion. Not necessarily every team, but particularly professionals. They've got pride, ego, all these things factoring in, but also they know they have to perform. And this is also why you see so many teams score in the final 5 minutes of football, because they're not trying to take any unnecessary risks. Even though they might be 1-0 down or a 1-1 draw, they don't want to concede another goal and then it's over. And then when it gets to the final 5 minutes, they realise we're going to have to start taking some chances now. And then suddenly they score. And do you know what happens often? They score again. They'll score 2 goals in a few minutes. So the technique we use is we wait until you've got to really judge it on the game, because some teams will just score very quickly. But when you've got a wide segment of the game where not much is happening, this is when you want to play the team who are the big favourite, even if they're 1-0 down, to win. Sometimes you can play them double chance, it depends how much you want to risk it, but I always play to win because the odds are so high. And because these teams with elite players, they rise to the occasion. They show up when it is do or die. It's something that is more, I suppose it's more likely to happen with what we would call like the best teams in the world, the elite of the elite. Because these are people who do not accept loss. Their ego's too big, and also they know they're very, very skilled. They've got the ability. On lower level leagues, you're going to have more self-doubt, less confidence, even though you will get players who are very confident because maybe they are very good for the level of competition they're playing. But when you've got the best of the best, they know they're good and they're going to show up. And this happens all the time. And we use this method constantly. It's how we just got Shanghai Shenhua, who are a 1.24 decimal odds favourite, terrible odds. I managed to get them live at 3.20 odds. So over 2-1, cashed it. They scored 2 goals in the final 5 minutes. Just like I was saying, I actually left a voice note in the group today and said, guys, look out for this exact scenario. There will be teams that go down today who should be the favourite or who are the favourite, and who will fight back and they will win. Just because they go 1-0 down doesn't mean they'll lose. Tottenham actually are just doing it now as I'm filming this. I just cashed a play on them as well, by the way. Solanke to score plus over 2 goals at 2.80 odds, so almost 3-1 odds. Very easy play. Cashed in the first half, absolute no sweat. There is value out there. And you could have actually backed Tottenham just there, and as they went down at a very decent odds. You could have probably even gotten that double chance of fairly good odds as well, depending on how long you waited. These are the opportunities in your live betting that you should be looking for. And if you want to take less of a risk, you can just bet there'll be another goal. And then if they concede because they take a big risk, you still cash. Or you can play both at the same time, and you can have a double cash, and one can be a kind of, a kind of reserve. But the real money is going to be made in backing the favourite. It's the one time you're going to get a favourite at really, really good odds against competition who they should be a much heavier, or the odds should be much lower just because of the circumstance. But oftentimes that doesn't matter, because what you're going to see is the human nature of the team. Try and stay cohesive, try not to give their opponent any opportunities because they've already scored once, so we better not let them score again. Then in the final 5, maybe the final 10, it gets more and more intense as the game goes on, but they start realizing what we're doing is not working. We need to be more aggressive, we need to take more chances, and then bang, it happens all the time. Start using it, guys. And what you should also be doing to maximize your return is you should be staggering the stake. Staggering is a technique where, if I would say for a Shanghai Shenhua, let's say use them for an example. What I would do is, when I gave the tip out and said, take them to win, it was at about even money. So 1.90, 2.0 odds. If you want to put 1 unit on that, you should put half a unit, and then every 5-10 minutes, depending how long is left. If there's a lot of time left, then every 10 minutes. If it's in the second half and there's not long left, every 5 minutes. You put 1/10 of a unit, because the odds will creep up fairly quickly. And that means if they don't score, like in this game, they didn't score until, I think, the 88th minute. You're going to get them at crazy odds, at like 4.50 odds. It will only be 1/10 of a unit, but then the next bet you place will be even higher and even higher. So instead of getting 2.0 odds, you're going to end up getting like 2.60 if you average it all out. And that will massively affect how much you have in terms of your returns. Sometimes you will lose out because they will score very quickly. But in general, in football, goals often come right at the end, or in this particular scenario, goals often come right at the end of the match. So more times than not, you're gonna actually benefit from doing that. So those are 2 things you should be doing: taking the favourite to win when their back's up against the wall, and then also staggering the stake. You will make money doing that. All you've got to do is make a list of the teams that are playing today who are big favourites, watch the games live, see who goes down, and then back them. It's that easy. You can make a ton of money doing this. We do it in our group all the time. We're absolutely smashing it actually this week. And that is one reason why these live bets, I don't think I've even included them, to be honest, in the tracker, the profit loss that we do, because in my group I'll give official plays and then basically leans, and I don't actually count the leans as a profit loss. But we're up tons of units, just cashed Birmingham as well, early payout, 2-0 in the first half. I think we've hit every single bet today apart from one, and that was, I had a bet for, just move the camera then. I had a bet for Chelsea, West Ham, both teams to score. That was at even money. West Ham had so many shots on target, they just couldn't score. So we've had one loss. In the last, I've just posted it today in the group. In the last 48 hours or so, I think out of 15 bets, we've had 2 losses. All the others have hit. So we're absolutely smashing it. This is the technique you should be using, guys. Start doing it, you will make money. It's almost impossible to not make money, because most people, what they'll do, they'll bet the team that's ahead, thinking it's not gonna change, and then they're gonna get upset. It's the bait that you're being given. You're being lured to take the most likely outcome, and the value is almost always on the other side. So do not get manipulated. Try this technique and you'll make a ton of money. If you wanna join the Telegram, the link's in the description. Sign up there. We're gonna have a ton of plays for this weekend and we're absolutely crushing it. I'm up over 13 units so far. The footy tipster's up way more than me as well, as usual. He's had some massive cashes over the last 48 hours. Join the group, we're gonna get more posted today.